I'm old. I'm wasting away. No.
What a world. No,
What a
wrong.
world. I'm
Wrong
not a witch.
movie.
I'm an old person. Accelerated growth. I have so many fears and regrets, and I wish that I would have done this. And what were we fighting about, Joe? Oh, I don't remember. I'll just stay here. Guys, welcome to our review of M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong's review of film, rather, of his new film, Old. This has a pretty cool, interesting premise. The trailers were interesting to me. It looks like a vacation spot, beach. But for some reason, and you bring your kids, but for some reason your kids are like start off 6, 7 years old, and all of a sudden they're 10 and teenagers, and now they're adults, and things are going on, and it's like, how is this happening? People are aging and people are dying. Are we gonna get out of here? What the hell is going on? That's sort of the premise. And it's M. Night Shyamalan, so you get a twist. It's not kind of like, you always got him, and that's what he's known for. This guy cannot refrain from putting himself in his films. I don't know why he keeps doing it, but of course you've got the regular cameo of for M. Night. But yeah, so Old, I'll say this for the film. I was entertained. I wanted to know where it was going, how it was going to end, if there was a satisfying payoff. And there's sort of good moments of body horror, and the concept is interesting. The execution, though, at certain moments is very silly, stupid.
Also what he's known for.
Yeah, silly, stupid. I don't know what he was doing with the cinematography, if he did the cinematography as well. He's like framing things purposefully wrong. In film school, they teach you, you got to frame things. Don't cut people's heads off. Don't have half a face in the frame or at least one that's talking.
It's art.
Well, he's trying to do a little of the fanciful art stuff. But ultimately, I think Old was mixed. And I've seen far worse in terms of thrillers and horrors and these sort of high concept films. What did you guys think?
I hated it.
Oh.
I think that this is a concept that's not his, by the way. It comes from a graphic novel that's pretty well, people like it, and I'm told it's very good. So he didn't come up.
Anything his?
Yeah, well, so it's like he didn't come up with any of it. So what we got was he did the dialogue, which was bad. The dialogue in this movie is...
I couldn't tell whether it was the actors that were fucking annoying me and being bad.
There are 3 lines in the first 30 seconds of this car. There's a car ride where the parents are like, "I can't wait to see what your voice sounds like when you're older. I wish we could spend so much time together."
Get it?
Get it? Because this movie's about that is the kind of level of shitty dialogue in here. There's a guy who's an actuary, and he tells you he's an actuary 3 fucking times. He will not stop talking about percentages. The lady...
Everybody was speaking like a child.
And these are the adults. The kids are kids.
Fine.
I don't have any actually. I think the kid, the actors and
Annoying
actresses,
voices. At least the initial.
Did well.
They did fine. Yeah.
They did fine. But all of the things that he touched in this movie, which is not the main story, the ending, and all the dialogue, I didn't like. How does a movie about the acceleration of time feel like it took 4 fucking hours to finish? It just it kept going and going and going. I'm like, okay, cool.
There was like multiple endings almost.
Yeah, it's like, where are we going? We're gonna get somewhere cool like this. We're getting towards the end, and then it just kind of went, and did nothing. There was no satisfying. There was no not satisfying.
Excuse me. You just don't understand, Alex.
I don't know.
Did you not understand about arguments are meaningless and
that's the
fighting against
enjoying
death.
time
now. Enjoy the time that
that's
you
actually
have.
the basis of the comic, right? The acceptance of death and like, hey, stop trying to escape and enjoy the time that you've got with your family. This did nothing with any of that shit, and he went on this wild adventure with his own cameo, doing stupid shit. There was no.
He did have. I mean, when you say it does nothing with that he does put in scenes to try to address it, but they don't really.
There's one. There's like one
sense. That's not even in the first half. It's later on, Joe.
I like the 2 parents you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, I thought that scene was great. how, and then we have all these families. And there's no like emotional connection to them. They're not pressing on the emotion with these families. There's one scene, and it's so after everything has happened.
It's mostly let's figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
Oh man! And I'm gonna give you a spoiler. It is not worth finding out what's going on. Don't
It's
fucking
like-
go watch this movie.
Let's have a spoiler section.
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
Joe, what about you?
All I gotta say is this movie's gonna get old real fast, huh?
Oh my God, you made me wait for that one.
That's a
Yes.
good one.
Come on.
That's a good one. No.
No, honestly, like I thought it was an
It
average
didn't get
film.
old fast for me. I was intrigued all
I
the
was.
way through.
I was not all the way through. Like I was like, okay, this is an average film, but then like I was like, all right, where is this going? I was still kind of intrigued, but then like you knew the twist was coming. I was just super let down. I was like, oh God, I wasted this time for nothing. That was
You
a
felt
waste
it
of
was a
time.
waste of time?
Yeah.
After we
did.
figured out the ending, I feel like it was a
Because I
total
thought it was
and
an
complete
average
waste of
film,
time.
and then once you find out what's going on, I was like, that kind of brought it down for me.
Yeah.
But
I'm not really sure how he could have ended it, but they really does at least give you the payoff, a complete story,
It's a
and
complete
everything
story,
wraps
yes.
up.
Well, yes,
maybe a little too neatly.
Yeah.
Where I guess I was just expecting the film to explain nothing. It's very mysterious, and the beach is the beach, and then you move on, right? But because it didn't do that, it kind of went up for me. I was like, I kind of actually like the fact that we know what the hell's going on.
which ending did
little
you like?
self-contained story, and we're moving on.
Because, like you said, it felt like it was going to end, and then they kept going with stuff, and I was like, oh, okay. And then it felt like it was going to end, and then it kept going with stuff, and then it felt like it was going to end, and he couldn't. There was no stopping point for him. He's like, no, we're going to have 4 endings in this movie.
Yeah, but I think I would have been a little disappointed if they didn't wrap up some of the loose plot ends that they set up in the beginning of the film, and then just have them, figure out what's going on, and then move on and never actually deal with the situation at hand. And this film actually deals with the situation. So I will agree with y'all in that, it may have overstayed its welcome a little
Yeah.
bit because it does feel like a Twilight Zone episode that could be
Yeah.
stretched out. It's a stretched out Twilight Zone episode. I think it is at the level of concept, execution, intrigue as of a television episode. Just stretched
30 minutes,
out.
40 minutes. Really.
Yeah, stretched out with some weird filmmaking decisions as M. Night is, I'm an artiste, kind of thing. There was some cool shots here and there. I mean, you're filming on a fucking beautiful beach. There has to be. And there was some. But ultimately, kind of a mixed experience. We can't really say much because we don't want to spoil, what's going on here. But as you can tell, the subtext is there. It's pretty obvious what the film is about.
Oh yeah,
but-
right from the get go, they say it a lot.
All right, well, shit. What else? What else you want to
That's
talk
all we
about
could
there?
actually
I mean,
pretty
I
much
can't
say.
get into,
though.
like,
we
a lot
can't
of
get
the
into the
issues.
rest of the stuff.
Okay, well, so yeah, go ahead.
I like the premise of this movie, which, again, I'm going to give credit to the people who originally wrote it. I do like the premise. The dialogue was so weak almost all the way throughout. It breaks its own rules constantly.
Yeah.
Constantly it is break because you're trying to you are intrigued by what's happening, where is it coming from? It's a Shyamalan movie, which adds to it. You're looking at how are these characters aging, how are these things working, and because I'm paying attention, you can't be paying attention.
Yeah.
You can't. Because if you're paying attention, you're going to be like, wait a minute, how is this so inconsistent? Why is this not working this way?
Yeah.
And I'm constantly getting pulled out of the movie by dumb shit.
Yeah, so for every one good, intriguing thing that happens, there's one like, wait, what? What are you doing? Okay, let me try. Again,
Yeah, I know.
spoiler. So what I'm trying to say is that it's supposed to be creepy and just mysterious, creepy. But then there's times where I'm just like laughing. I'm like, are you fucking serious? And then times where I'm like creeped out in the wrong way. I'm like, what are you
I
doing
was
at night?
laughing.
Like, what is
I don't
that?
know if you heard me. I started laughing. It's
Yeah,
supposed to be
there's
a horror
it's
scene.
a hoot.
I started laughing. I was like, that was dumb. That was dumb.
This is dumb.
Super,
What is happening?
super. I heard a few people laughing and hollering and hooting.
Not
so-
in a scene where it was appropriate to be
it
doing
wasn't.
any of that
I
stuff.
just started laughing. I was like, oh shit, I'm sorry.
Oh, you okay? Well, you have to tell me.
I will. I
yeah.
will.
So
Yeah. Well, I can't
Okay,
tell
we
you
can't
now.
talk, we can't talk about any of it right now.
okay, so what can I tell you? It was a mixed experience. I think
Yes.
it's better than your average like horror thriller that you find on Amazon. That we're all starved for content
You shut
right
your
now.
mouth. There's some good
I think
stuff
it's
on
better.
Amazon.
Sure, I know there's good stuff, like good stuff that has already come out. But like if you're like digging through the stuff like we are now, it's better than a lot of that. Do I think you should go out in the theater to see it? No. I think you can
could
save your
wait.
money. Wait till this is on one of the services that you're already paying for, and then check it out. Then this is not M. Night in his what is it? Split, right?
He did
What's
split.
the? Yeah,
he
it's
did
not in his split form. I think that was one of his best
Unbreakable?
films. Yeah, Unbreakable. Yeah, but I think this one is far less than those.
Oh,
so
yeah,
let's go and give our final verdicts.
Final verdicts for me. I thought it was an average film till the end. Leaning between a 4 and a 5. I do like that actor, the dad. I liked him in Sleep of Science. If you haven't seen it, you should check
Science
it
of
out.
Sleep.
Science of Sleep.
Yeah,
you
he's
should
great.
check that one out. Pretty good. He's a
Gael
Mexican
Garcia,
actor.
yeah.
Yes. The mom was like, meh. It seemed kind of weird. Her acting was kind of weird.
Well, her accent kept coming in and out.
Yeah, and that's just like whatever.
Did the film
but-
work for you? Did it?
It did for a bit, but then I was like, okay, I understand the message,
Mm-hmm.
and then it just kind of dragged on for a while. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
and then I was not along for some of the ride. And how can you be at the beach for like 50 years and never get sunburned?
There's a lot of white
Explain
people.
that
There's a
to
lot
me.
of white people on there. So
Explain
basically,
that
white
to
people,
me.
yeah.
Okay.
Nobody got a tan.
Right. No.
That girl was
like
pasty.
Cancer, yeah,
That girl was pasty as fuck the entire time. How did she not get tan?
Yeah. Thank you, Joe, for asking the important questions.
That's what I'm here for, guys.
Okay.
So you give it a
4
Ouch. Okay.
because of the ending that dropped it.
Four. Okay, you didn't like it. Alex.
I also did not like it. I think it's a really cool concept that was executed incredibly poorly. It needed someone else working on the dialogue and the script. It needed someone else evening out the tone of the movie. There were some like wild swings in the pacing and like things working. I do appreciate some of the body horror stuff. I think that the makeup artists and the VFX people did an incredible job, except for the CG blood coming out of that guy's nose. Why? There was some really cool stuff here. I just don't think that he did this story any favors, and I think that someone else needed to help him. It's like give Jordan Peele this and say like, hey, could you do something different with it, please?
That would be interesting.
It was building. I was intrigued.
So,
there was thrilling parts for me in the middle of this movie, and it kept building up into something. It just built up to a point that into nothing exciting, and then I thought it was going to end, and it was like, okay, well, at least I'm out of this movie. And then it kept going, and then it kind of ended again, and then it kept going, and it kind of ended again, and then it ended, and then it's a movie. And so I think this is a below average film. I think
coincidences.
I think it's a 4.
Okay, cool. Well, I disagree with you a little bit. It kept me entertained a little more. I like the high concept. I think it's mixed. He does execute some of it well, and some of it turns into straight like what do you know? This is completely counter to what we've seen before. That probably wouldn't happen like that. So it's difficult there. But I did appreciate the payoff where we get one complete story, and it's not sort of left open to where you're like, what the fuck was that? That was unsatisfying. I see the story, got it, understood your message. You say, I'll forget it in a week or two. It's a consumable little thing like that. Better than a lot of the shit that I've seen recently in thrillers. So I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. I think it's slightly above average. I can see 5, 6, something like that, depending on whether you like the ending. And this is one of those films. It's like it's either not working for you or it's working.
Yeah.
But even
It's
when
kinda
it's
like his
working, I don't
movies.
think you can get up to like 9, 10. It's
That's
not.
kind of how it was with like The Village. I was like, ooh, this is cool, mysterious,
Yeah.
and you find out the ending is
Oh, that was a disappointment.
Cool
right?
concept. You
Yeah.
didn't do it right. Cool
Yeah.
concept. Didn't do it right. Cool
Yeah.
concept.
All right, if none of that intrigued you, the trailer didn't intrigue you, you can stick with us in the spoiler section. We'll tell you exactly what the hell's going on.
Yep.
And how it was solved. All right? We'll spoil it for you and save your money if you didn't want to see it. But I think it's probably, you could see it, just don't spend money at the theater. All right? All right, that's it. Thank you all so much for watching. If you want to stick in the spoilers, we're going to do it now. All right? Bye, guys. Hey guys, welcome to the spoiler section. So it is a sci-fi premise here, as he does kind of somewhat often. It turns out that the beach
I
itself.
thought it was aliens.
You thought it was aliens. They were shooting a ray at him, an aging ray.
Oh man,
Yeah, you
some crazy
explain
shit.
your alien concept, Joe.
See, what happened was they're lizard people at that resort.
Yeah.
They're like, all right, we need to get these people in this thing for something.
Cool.
was it.
And it was like a tube, and
Yeah,
and then everybody was
something.
It's a
being
series of
manipulated.
tubes.
Maybe,
Okay,
I don't know.
I like that. No, instead, magnets,
Rock magnets.
properties,
But I will say the mom got hot
special
at the
minerals.
end. Right? No, just me.
What?
Just you, man.
Oh, okay.
The mom got
She
what?
got old.
She got hot at the end. Joe, you're
Joe.
scaring me. You're scaring me with your guilt and stuff. Anyways, so obviously it starts with this family, and I couldn't quite jump on board with the family. Super kind of awkward dialogue, and real overtly annoying. You know what they're setting up. And
Yeah,
then
right off the
they
get-go.
arrive at the hotel, and I can tell right away with the reception that they got and all the activities that these motherfuckers are behind it. They know what the fuck is going
These
on.
dumb motherfuckers who are capturing people and sending them to a beach, but are also running a fairly legitimate beach resort for no fucking reason at all. This place is filled with other guests for no fucking reason at all.
That's part of the
Do you think that
subterfuge.
the stakeholders are like, hey man, you can make these billion-dollar things with all these people that you're testing, but I need you to sell some Mai Tais. So
Yeah,
can you
it's
run the?
gotta be
Can you run a resort?
legitimate, Alex, so that there's no
It
suspicion.
looked like a nice resort, though.
I know. I'd like to go to the resort and just not be selected. Like, how do you get selected to be one of the assholes that
Down
gets
with
to
the
go
sickness.
to the thrown in the old beach? Yeah, you got to be down with the sickness.
You gotta
have
be
to-
sick in some way.
Some kind of sickness, so that they can test you to see with drugs that they give you at these cocktails right at the beginning. They have drinks. What if you don't like drinks? Well, then they don't select you, I guess. They make sure that you're drinkers. Anyway, so you take their cocktail, and it's basically trial drugs. And they get to test a trial drug in a day instead of testing it over 10 years. That's the fucking premise. That's what they do with this area. So it had been discovered
that's
before.
a-
This twist ending was the very next scene. We're in a science, lab, and then it's scrolling, and then
'Cause
there
you
was
keep
an
seeing 'em, though,
expedition
from the-
team
the
that
beach
discovered it,
cliff.
and these are the names of all the people that passed away to find this, and then all the scientists are super serious, and they're clapping for themselves, and they're smelling their own farts and shit. It's like, we are doing the world a great service. We helped cure, what was the
She
thing?
had
Epilepsy.
seizures.
The seizures.
Except for
that
the
one.
drugs didn't officially work because she takes the cocktail the second she gets there, and the first thing that she does is have a seizure.
That's what I was thinking.
That didn't make sense. You just found a plot hole.
Yeah,
There's
There
a
are
lot
many
of them.
plot holes
This
in
movie
this film.
It's
We
not
can go
written
over
very
some.
super well.
Right. We can go over some of them, but that's the premise. So then they tell these guests, well, there's a special little beach that you go to, and when you go to it, there's rocks, the sheer cliff, and apparently there's a small crack in it that you walk. Doesn't make any sense that the magnetic field doesn't affect you when you go in, but then if you try to immediately turn around and go out, you get disoriented and your head has a lot of pressure and you pass
It's
out.
like
You
being
black
like
out.
Yeah, they
millions
never
of
explain any
miles.
of that.
Now,
that
how
whole thing.
you black out back at the beach instead of blacking out right where you
Because
fell.
they said you go like this, backwards.
Yeah.
They said. you
No,
like-
they didn't.
Yeah, they did.
That is the
I shit you not.
stupidest thing I've
They
ever
said,
heard.
"Are you okay?"
They
Because
don't-
you were like holding your head, backpedaling, and you passed out.
Well, I just thought that he.
Yeah. So this
that's,
is
that's how they
Every
get to the
single
beach.
person gets
Yes.
back out.
yeah.
Okay.
This is the magic part of the thing
Yeah,
where because
they're
they
like,
try to
"What?"
make it sciencey, but there's also magic where it's like, no, the rocks are making you
A
pass
little
out.
bit of
and-
happening, Joe.
Yeah,
and
it's
walking
not-
backwards and shit. He's doing
Yeah,
it.
because you see him.
He's
like,
doing it
"Yeah."
again.
Yeah.
And
That's what happens.
okay, so anyway, so they're on the beach now, and what happens?
They meet. So the one part of writing, the best writing in this entire movie.
Joke. The guy's name?
The Mid-Size Sedan is my favorite rapper name of all
Mid-
time
yes.
right now. His
So
name. There's a
there's a-
rapper named Mid-Size Sedan. It's
Yeah.
like I love that.
Yeah. There's a super attractive dude on the beach. He's muscular. He looks like, he's dressed all nice. And then one of the daughters like, oh my God, that's one of my favorite rappers. It's Mid-Size Sedan. I was like, hey, say what? mid-sized sedan. And later on in the movie, they're like, "What's your name?" He's like, "Mid-sized sedan." It made me crack up so much. I loved him.
I don't understand because he was there already before.
Don't think about any of this shit. You're not
That's
supposed
what
He
I'm
to.
saying.
should have been aged a lot longer.
Exactly.
All of these
'cause he
people
was
are
already
like, no,
there
none
a
of that
day
shit is
before.
good. Yes.
He doesn't actually react to anybody when they walk in. He's just kind of, I guess, in shock, just waiting for her. I thought the time was gonna be different. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But again, a lot of plot holes in the film, essentially. But anyway,
They made a
the
joke
people
about
that
it,
go
kind of.
over there are suspicious of him, or at least there's this doctor character that seems to be slightly racist. He's just kind of
Slightly.
Yeah,
This
he's
guy
just-
goes on like the biggest racial
Well, he tries
tirade.
to
He's like,
hide
this
his
black
racism.
guy is going to break into my house and steal my... And he
Well, that's
shouts
what
that.
I'm saying. Initially, slightly racist,
going
and then it
senile.
opens up to later
Yeah.
on where he's literally stabbing him because he thinks he's taking a shit in his house. And he's basically losing his mind. Some people get older and they get senile, and then they
He
believe
was a schizophrenic.
things are happening that they're not really happening. Correct. So, but here's where it starts to get weird. Like, then the kids are aging super fast, and they're like 6 or
Yeah.
7, but they're in adult bodies or the teenager bodies, and they're like caressing each other, and they're like, "Oh, I'm feeling all these feelings." And then they cut away, and then we do something else. And then when we cut back, the kids are like, "Where are the kids?" And the kids walk out, and the chick is pregnant.
The 6-year-old
what the
had
fuck?
sex with
So
the
you're
5-year-old.
talking like, what the fuck, M. Night? Like, this is super uncomfortable. What are you talking about? Oh, we were just playing. I was like, that is not. Don't do this.
That's not how you
And what was it done for? Just to make the point that babies are accelerated, just like everybody's aging. We get the fucking point. The point has already been gotten. But anyway, she's pregnant, and then within 20 minutes she's in labor. She gives birth, and then within 1 minute the little baby is dead.
The time doesn't make any goddamn sense.
Well, Joe, I don't.
Nothing
Nothing
is...
makes sense.
I'm not
in
going to
this.
do the mathematical calculations to see if the times and minutes were exactly as it should be. I don't give a fuck about it. But it was a pointless scene, which drives the little girl, this 6-year-old little girl, insane, and she tries to climb the fucking cliff to get out, and because they pass out, when they go in, but they also pass out when you go up because then she falls.
She slams into the rocks.
Slams into the rocks.
Now this
They
is
don't-
up
yeah.
to that point is when he that's where like the comic kind of leads up to, and all of the kids acted like kids up until this point. So the guy, even though he's 18 years old or 20-something years old, he's still acting like a 6-year-old. The woman who just gave birth is still acting like a 5 or 6-year-old.
Yeah.
Immediately after that, all these kids start acting like they're 30.
Yeah, when they do the one additional age, I think they came of age in the cave. So at some point they lose this super hot, but super
very
kind of
superficial.
bitchy because she's like wanting to preserve
laughed.
her, I don't know, beauty.
She had a calcium problem. She said it
Yeah.
7 times, and
Yes.
that's why her bones are that way.
Right.
She turned
but,
into
but
La
it doesn't make any
Llorona.
sense
Yes.
because she literally turns into a monster. Like, she's so concerned about, her looks, and she basically, is
La
throwing
Llorona.
rocks at them because they go
Karen.
into the cave. And the cave of the Karen, and the Karen's pissed because you're looking at her, and she's all old now, and she got her hump back. She was
Then she
concerned about
does like a full
humpbacks.
circle. I was laughing at this part.
Yeah,
Yeah,
me
you're
too.
not
This is the
supposed.
part
You're
where I
supposed to be
was-
terrified.
She
You're
picks up
supposed
a
to be
rock and then it
terrified.
falls on her own arm, so her own arm breaks. But then it heals because we're going super fast, right? So it heals in a fucked up position. But then as she's crawling, she's like, "Don't look at me, don't look at me." But it's like you're coming.
But she's
towards
spinning
me.
in a circle.
And then all of a
She's
sudden,
like,
here's where it turns like it's like, okay, now this is a cartoon. she's breaking her own bones. She's in pain, but yet doing it to herself. It doesn't make any fucking sense. It's just so that we could get the reveal of a totally mangled body. And
Yes. So you see that she's like, "Oh my god," in pain. I'm trying not to laugh, and then the guy lights a match. You see her, she's like a fucking pretzel.
Yeah, and she's like
She
twitching
looks like
and stuff.
those fucking
That's the moment
cartoons.
you were gonna laugh.
I was laughing because like it looks like a fucking those cartoons when you swat a fly, the fly's like me.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my god, that was hilarious.
Yeah. I kind of liked it in the body horror kind of way, and
But they
I
could have done
understood
it
what
better.
I understood what they were doing, but it just felt tonally, separate from the entire movie. It's like, okay, we're not getting scary enough with this premise, so let's just have a lady turn into a monster. and do
dead
stupid
fly,
shit
yeah.
to chase the
She
people.
wasn't even one of the test subjects. She just went crazy.
Yeah. Well, I think they are actually testing the
They're all-
mental subjects
yeah.
as well.
Well, because she was
People
there
that
with
are
the
susceptible, and the medicines that they give them in their cocktails obviously didn't work.
Yeah, so because they were there because the husband was a violent schizophrenic. He had just been diagnosed with schizophrenia, and that's why the racist doctor, went off and stabbed everybody.
Yeah. Okay, so, you know, as they go along, they try several things. People try to swim to, you know, get around the cove, and they end up dying. And so how essentially. Okay, well, the family
Well, yeah.
has some internal conflict. There's some subplots here that they were gonna divorce.
Yes.
But they wanted to go on one last trip. And also, the mother has a medical condition, cancer, and it could be benign, but it's growing. We don't know. And on the beach, the benign cancerous growth grows really fast. And the doctor
It's like, oh,
cuts
it's the
her
size
out.
of a golf ball.
Yeah,
Oh, softball. Oh, it's a melon.
Yeah,
It's like,
by
oh,
the time
shit.
it comes out, it's a fucking huge
The
rock. It's
baby.
nasty. Yeah, but it can be done because everything heals super fast, and they even have to stick their hands in there so that the
It's like
wound
keep,
doesn't
you
heal
got to
up.
keep moving it. That was pretty cool. It's like you got to
Yeah.
keep moving it.
Yeah,
'cause if not-
keep jiggling the massive
Yeah.
open wound. Is like,
Let's
ew.
go, gross.
That was gross.
It's a good
So
thing it
more
didn't heal
body-
immediately like that lady's bones.
Yeah.
More
'Cause
body horror, right? But anyways, so you know, but they managed to appreciate their time together, sort of come clean. Turns out the wife had been cheating, and
But he knew.
But
He
he knew. But at the same time, he still loved her, and she kind of loved him. I don't really
That was
know about
this is
That
the
was
only
a
part of
whole-
the movie that I thought was actually done
Yeah,
pretty well,
I-
right? Like you have this emotional connection with the family. They're appreciating their time. They're like, look, we're not getting off this place. Let's just be a family unit. There's no person I'd rather be here with than with you. And if they had really like gone in on that and done more of it, I think this movie could have been better for me. But by this time, when they're like, I love
she starts
you.
going deaf and
He's going blind,
he's going
and then the
blind.
racist monster who hasn't aged at all up until this point.
Yeah.
Because he started old.
Doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
That's
And
what I'm
that's-
saying.
and
Like
The only thing that aged was his racism.
Yeah.
His mind. That's
the
only
father
thing.
loses his vision. The mother loses
And
her
you could
hearing.
visibly see like the wrinkles on them, but on the doctor you don't.
They needed him to turn into a monster.
But he
in order
could
to make
use-
this. So he's a racist monster, comes up trying to stab the guy. They're healing while being stabbed, so that's kind of scary because you can be killed for a while or whatever. Didn't really work with the
Oh, he's dead.
mid-sized sedan.
Well,
Well, no,
they
maybe
stabbed his heart.
because his blood can't clot. He was there because he was a hemophiliac. His blood,
Sure.
Well,
blood didn't
also
clot.
like they were stabbing
Nothing makes
his
sense.
chest, though.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
guy was just slashing hair.
Man, they had
like-
5 hands inside that woman's stomach. Are you thinking the little tiny like?
Yeah.
Don't think
Again.
about this movie.
Yeah.
So don't think too hard about it because it's a lot of plot holes.
But I wanted also
Okay.
too, like that guy, like the dad. He's like, oh, why were we fighting? That's right, you were cheating.
You're a bitch with an asshole.
cheating.
No, he accepts her.
Cheat.
And
He
he even said,
forgot.
he's a
Yeah.
pretty romantic guy, but if it had
But
to be
that
somebody, I don't want it to be that guy.
Yeah.
I want to tell you I love you, but I forgot the word. And then that's it. And she doesn't really say shit. I was like, man, this kind of sucks for him.
Probably didn't. Yeah.
He's quite clearly not the one wearing the pants in the relationship. She was like, all right, well, I guess I'll be with you for this. It's supposed to be more than that. She smiles, he smiles, they come together. Yes, they
She
love
smiled
each
because
other,
she's
blah,
deaf
blah,
and she
blah.
can't hear what he's saying, and she's just going, uh-huh.
Uh-huh. But she saves her husband with a rusted knife because rust essentially acts as a poison if you don't get it out, and it's accelerated.
Yes, and she knows that because she's a museum curator, because this is the 7th time she's told you that she works in a museum, and that she knows how bones age on the beach in a magic
You gotta
science
cherish the
forest.
time.
It
Beach.
sets everything off because they found a floating dead body in the water. Some lady at the beginning takes all of her clothes off,
we're just seeing
and
it.
she's like super hot, and then she goes into the water, and you think, oh, well, this is like a super exclusive beach or whatever, or this is going to factor in differently. But it turns out she took her clothes off for no reason. She was trying to get to around the cove, and then she died.
Yeah, because she was there with mid-sized sedan,
Yeah,
and
'cause
he
they were
didn't
there.
age the entire first day that he was there.
They made a joke about it, Alex.
At no
Black
point.
don't crack.
Black don't
Oh,
crack.
I was about to say, like, did anybody notice that the black people did not?
They
Black
made multiple
don't
jokes
crack.
about
That's what they said. They
Yeah.
said,
Yeah, I kept looking
now
for
they're
at
like-
least some gray hairs or
A
some
little
wrinkles.
bit,
No, I
but-
didn't see nothing.
No, so Midsize Sedan looks at the woman. He's like, I bet this is the first time that any of these people wish that they were black. And I was like, all right, that's kind
And
of
you know
funny.
That
what?
was funny.
It did get a
Yes.
laugh from the audience.
yeah.
The
I
audience
enjoyed
laughed
that. I
in
was like,
there.
yeah, that's
Black
pretty
don't
good.
crack.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that. All right. Well, then that's about.
Nope, that is
no. We
not
got to
it.
talk about what Joe
Okay,
was
so-
disappointed with.
So after that, the parents died, old age.
Yes.
The kids come back. They're like probably like in their 40s, 50s.
50s, yeah.
I was like, all right.
And this is where they're acting like adults at this point.
Yeah, they're like just like, all right. So what do we do now? Do we try to escape? It's like, well,
I guess their brains develop, Alex, to a certain point that they're probably
Educating
mid-20s.
themselves, like automatically
mid-20s.
educating themselves, and they get new vocabulary and they
Yes.
like new
They
mannerisms
didn't
and speech
show any of
patterns.
that.
And
well, yeah, because they're like,
you're going excessive.
they're like, do you think kids our age or people our age still think like kids? I was like, no, because you didn't have a fucking mortgage, you don't have bills, you didn't have anything to deal with, like fucking real life stress.
Yeah.
So no, you
So
are
they're like,
completely
should we-
different. So yeah,
Should we
that was-
continue to get off the island? Yes, but first let's make a sandcastle.
you have to.
I was
You
gonna
have
say
to have
we
that
don't
scene.
have time.
Well, you have to build the sandcastle because that's the name of the graphic novel.
Oh, Sandcastle?
It's called Sandcastle.
Oh,
See,
Like, seriously,
this
that-
guy has extra context, so he basically adapted, a better story and did it his own way.
yeah. Which I think it would have been a great, like you said, like a little short, like TV show or something like that.
Again, saying the subcontext of it is, appreciate the time that you have. And they are appreciating the time that they have, even though it is fucking horrible. They just fought a monster. Their fucking parents died. Everybody's aging. Everybody's dead, gone, and dead. But yet they want to make and laugh about a sandcastle and throw sand at each other. And no, that's not what happens.
Hey,
but
remember
it pretty
yesterday?
much might
Well,
happen.
pretty much. At the very beginning, too, before the kids go in, the kids are going to get breakfast or something like that. He meets the uncle's
The evil science
evil
guy's
scientist's nephew. He's like, hey, we're going to be best friends. He's like, no, I don't have any friends. You're going to leave. They all leave. Shifty eyes. It's like, all right, we'll become best friends. Here's a decoder. We're going to be friends now.
Sends you secret
he-
spy messages.
Secret messages. Then he realizes he has one in his, I don't know where he brought it.
Magical backpack that showed up on the beach magically.
Decoder stuff. Previously, he's shown decoding a message when they're, 6-year-olds. Did
Yeah,
ice cream party
Because while they're
tomorrow.
making this sandcastle, she's like, whoa, why don't
But he
you
made another
decode
one.
this? He's like, oh, decode.
What did the message say?
My uncle doesn't like coral.
Coral!
I would have read that as like, yeah, fucking coral's probably an asshole. All right, let's build a sandcastle. I think, okay.
If you're
Yeah.
a child. Okay, but then
Which
they
they
noticed,
were.
they noticed coral off in the distance.
And they don't know who his
said-
uncle is. They were
They
6.
said, that's what we can make a suit out of. Because earlier they said, well, what if it's a magnetic field or whatever's going on with the minerals and certain properties. Why don't we build a metallic suit and we can walk through it?
My dumb ass is thinking, I was like, holy shit, remember the pasta and everything? Everything was still fresh. I'm going to make a suit.
That actually is not a bad idea,
Because, like,
Joe.
everything was fresh. She's like, oh, you want some pasta? The girl's like fucking
Not
20.
a suit out of the pasta, Joe.
I know,
A
no.
suit out of the metal
That's what I was
materia.
saying. That's what I was saying. That's what I was like thinking. Because, like, she grabs the pasta. The pasta's
Sure.
still fresh. The
Right.
food's still fresh. I'm like, I'm gonna put the bags all over me and start walking.
Okay.
That's what I
Good.
was thinking already.
The bags were effective because they kept the food so fresh, is what you.
Well, they were
Well,
metal.
They were, it
They
was
were insulated.
metal, too. It
Yeah,
was
they were
insulated.
insulated.
Because that's the only thing that didn't really
That would have been
age.
genius. I wonder if that's what they were thinking about doing. But as soon as they see the coral, they said, let's go grab some of that or something. Let's just
I didn't know what
do
to
the
do with the
coral. We'll
coral.
go through the coral. But I don't know what he was thinking, but it just so happened that there was a little secret passage through there. And I guess he got the idea instantly when he saw it. I must go through this passage. I don't know how long I've been holding my breath, but let's just do it.
Yeah.
So then they go under. His sister gets caught, and then he comes back to help her, and you think they die.
cracks. Kind
You
of,
think they die because they're,
M. Night
they
was
ran
watching.
out of
Because the
air.
M. Night character's a moron.
And then we
thinks that
shift,
they drown.
perspectives, and it's M. Night is the guy that drove them out there, and he's also the guy with the binoculars and camera recording everything. He's a science guy, and then we follow him back to the science scene, and then it does the twist and the thing, but then it turns out that they didn't drown. They found an air hole where they took some air, and they came out up another way. And in fact, at the beginning of the film, because he was so curious and he was, my name is Ed. What is your occupation? To everybody that he met, there was a cop there. He remembered there's a cop that didn't get invited to the island, so he's perfectly fine. He goes and tells him, here, gives him this book, this diary that somebody wrote. The cop would look through the diary like, oh, that's an interesting sci-fi story, and throw it away.
Yeah.
But no, apparently...
It's like all the missing people.
Yeah, it's all the missing people. He calls them up, and they are, in fact, missing. So he's like, oh, we got to arrest these people. And at the same time, another family comes in with a van, and here's your cocktails. Somebody knocks over the cocktails. It's our
kid.
Here's the kid that we've been following. And he's like, don't believe anything they say, blah, blah, blah. And then they go on a little speech. We cut away. We see it in the security footage. Everybody's freaking out and shit. And they get arrested. And then the helicopter shows up. The kids are on the helicopter, and they're, I guess, showing the spot of the beach so that the government can take it over, and then the same thing can happen all over again.
Yeah.
They never imply that, but that's what's going to happen.
Well, again, I don't know why I keep thinking about this. They
Stop,
said,
stop, please.
I know, but they were like, well, we only had that one incident. I was like, who? Who was it?
He drowned. Didn't matter.
No, they said we had one person
that one
escape.
person
But he
escaped.
drowned. They said that he drowned afterwards.
No, I remember they mentioned something about drowning, but they did mention that somebody got out. Wait a minute, but he drowned anyway.
Yeah,
did
he
he?
drowned anyway is what they said. Or they could have just been like, these are two crazy people.
He's trying to set up a prequel that we could see, or a sequel.
God,
I
no.
think it's a self-contained story. He just
But
wants
it's
to
just like
put-
everything he said.
Twilight
It's
episode.
basically in the film. It's like, oh, you gotta take. It's like, oh, don't you guys get old on me. It's like, oh, you gotta cherish this time we have now. It's like, oh, somebody escaped. It's like, is that gonna be relevant later?
No.
I thought it had good tension all throughout because I was trying to figure it out. There were moments that lost me. That's why I think it's mixed. And the ending, you're either going to hate it or you're going to think it's, hey, at least you went full on and you explained everything and you wrapped it up. But forgettable in the end. Okay. Well, thank y'all so much for watching. That's old. Probably wait until it comes out on Netflix. But once it gets there, we might have a good time with it. So,
I was thinking about so many ways to get off that beach.
like... I
One
like
of
to
them-
hear Joe.
one
So
of
that
them
was
was
a
my-
great one, man. I want Joe on my side of wherever fucking
Just
stranded.
in case, man.
Fucking lunchbox, fucking suits and shit.
It's magnets.
What's another way?
Oh yeah, what was the other one?
Tarzan swinging ropes, fashion a rope from leaves or something.
Fuck, I forgot. But yeah, that was my main one. If that didn't work, I guess we're fucking dead.
I'm sure there's some.
Because there's no way I
creative
could hold my breath that long.
under the coral.
Yeah. I would've
Yeah,
died.
no, I can't. I fucking barely swim, Joe. I don't swim
I
all.
would have grabbed the coral and just
Yeah.
rub it on yourself.
That's what I thought they were going to
He
do. I
doesn't
thought they were
like
going to
it.
swim out to the coral to build something
like,
and then
how?
walk through the area.
They should have, because one kid was sick. One of the characters was 6, and the other one is 11. And like they're like, he doesn't like the coral. It's like, well, let's break it. Because we're 6 and we don't understand who the fuck this
Yeah.
guy's uncle is, or he's evil. Because we, as the audience, know the
I didn't
uncle's evil.
understand what they were going for, but apparently that's what they referred to later in like one line of dialogue, that somebody managed to swim under the coral. Why he was swimming under the coral, it doesn't make any fucking sense to try to get away. But he made it out, but then he drowned, and then he doesn't like the coral because that's...
And they never plugged it up. You have a fake resort on top of your science experiment,
That's what I'm
and you
saying.
don't
Like
plug
the
up
more
the
you
coral.
think about it, you're like, no, stop
Look,
it.
Did you know
M. Night
the
didn't think
coral
about
counter-
it. We shouldn't think about it.
All right. Anyways, that's it. Or we're going to go an hour, and I try to keep these things
right.
short and cut y'all off. All right. Anyways, thank y'all
You
so
let me
much.
know how you would escape.
Let us know creative ways that you think you would get off this beach.
Hot air balloon.
Right?
Make a
You
hot air
pass
balloon.
out. How?
There's
Make-
got to be a
make
way.
a hot
Make
air
it out of all the,
The
bikinis
towels?
and yeah, the towels and
No
bikinis and
way.
everything, and find
We would figure
where
it
are you
out.
gonna get helium? I don't know. Anyways, bye guys.